Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome back to HE Tactical. You guys are beautiful. You guys are awesome. Shout out my Patreon members. As per usual, you guys keep the channel rolling, grooving, and moving. I appreciate every last Patreon who y'all be joining up too. And keep in mind, I'm going to start dropping way more content on my Patreon. I just been trying to settle into these topics on YouTube. But stay in Patreon. Trust me, there's some exclusive content coming. For all of those who want to go and support me, go check out the link below. Also, check out my Instagram. Now, we got the new trial, people. We got the Treehouse trial, and it's I watched a little bit of it. Not this part, but I watched when he was talking to the judge. I'm talking the man who's defending himself. He is pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie. He's pretty good. Like, he makes me feel like he may have studied to be a lawyer in his youth, maybe, possibly, maybe failed, maybe dropped out, whatever. But at any stance, at any rate, he has a good understanding of what's going on. Unlike Darrell Brooks, because Brooks, this is kind of like the comparison topic on how I guess it should look like if you represent yourself, or what it could look like, because Brooks made that shit look crazy. Like, you would never want to do that. But anyways, people, let's go ahead and check this thing out. We are going to interview the police officer, one of the police officers who responded to the scene. They're going to do their back and forth, and let's get it. Grab the things you guys need, the trees, the liquor, the juice, the fruits, whatever y'all eating on. Let's do this thing.
Good. Would you stop right there, turn, face the clerk, raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in the cause now and hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right, please have a seat on the witness stand, loudly and clearly, so everyone is able to hear you.
Yes, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I will say this courtroom has finally a court case that has good audio. I remember we were doing Bryce Rhodes. I still never finished Bryce Rhodes, which is interesting. Hit me up in the comments, all you guys in the comments, if you want me to finish the Bryce Rhodes trial. But unlike all those other trials, this trial has good audio. I appreciate the court. Like, damn, finally.
State your name and for the jury, please.
Jenna Mueller,
And where are you currently employed?
Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
In what capacity are you employed with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office?
I am the Road Patrol Sergeant in District 1.
How long have you been doing that, Mr. Deputy Mueller?
As a sergeant,
Yes, ma'am.
since July, I believe.
And in total with the Sheriff's Department?
I got hired in January of 2016.
16. Okay. I'd like to direct your attention.
So how long have you been working there? Come on. Like, now listen, I'm going to use the fingers. 17, 19, 22, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so she's been working there for about 9 years, maybe a decade, coming on a decade. Why not just say you've been working there 9 years? I would say she's almost at veteran status. She's almost seen it all. She's seen a few crazy things in her time, though. I'll tell you that much. And I gotta tell you, being a cop is probably one of the most interesting jobs someone can have, other than being a chef. And I'm serious about that.
To November 17th of 2017, were you employed with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office on that date?
I was.
And in what capacity were you working with them at that time?
I was the deputy on Road Patrol in District 1.
And at some point on that date, I want to say at approximately 7:45, 8 o'clock, did you have an opportunity to respond to 5650 Laurel Avenue, commonly known as the Treehouse?
Yes, I believe the original call was for me to go to the CVS right in front of that address.
Okay, and the CVS, how far is it away from the 5650 Laurel Avenue?
Across the street.
Literally across the street?
Yes.
Okay, and could you please describe for the jury what happened? What happened when you got there?
So I responded to the CVS. The call was that there was a man there making excited statements, something along the lines of maybe his friends were hurt. I don't remember the exact dispatch. So I arrived there, made contact with a male who was shirtless, and he began telling me that of this incident, a stabbing that occurred, and that it occurred at the Treehouse.
Okay, and did you ultimately respond to the Treehouse?
I did.
Were you the first surviving officer on the scene?
I was.
Could you please describe for the jury what you observed when you arrived?
So on arrival, I could hear, I parked my patrol vehicle out front of the property, and I could hear someone screaming from what ended up being the top of the treehouse. I made my way onto the property.
That must be freaky, bro. You're a woman by yourself. I mean, shit. By yourself going into this thing. That shit must be scary. It's a man, woman, shit, anybody. That shit, you ain't got no backup. And it's like you can't wait for backup. What are you gonna do? Be a pussy and wait for backup? No, we're not doing that. So we're going in that bit. Man, that shit must have been scary. And she's just talking about it so nonchalantly, man. You could tell she a trooper. She been out here doing this shit. She do this shit, people. You could tell. Her demeanor, all that shit.
Property. Up the stairs, and that's where I encountered the first victim laying face down on the stairs, unresponsive. I went past him to the victim that was yelling, and she was at the very top of the treehouse with a large wound to her neck, and I believe her hand as well.
Now, a lot of people are interested, including myself. Could you describe why do they call this residence the Treehouse?
So it was legit a treehouse. It was almost like a outdoor platform tower. I believe there was 2 levels and stairs going up all the way to the top, and it was essentially a treehouse. You know, it was just two platforms.
Did it have a roof or anything of that nature?
I think maybe part of it sort of had some sort of makeshift roof, but I don't remember exactly.
Running electricity?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, very well.
Oh, damn, shit. Imagine you booked the tree house that one day the tree said, yeah, this is over for me, and the tree cracks and falls over. The whole idea of a tree house and you're damaging the tree to go up into the tree, that just doesn't sit right with me. Like, oh, make Billy a tree house and make this elaborate tree house that he could go play in. Yeah, but like, what if, like, you know, my mind is just going to be like, what if? You know what I mean? It's a tree at the end of the day. That shit, I don't know.
You indicated the first victim you encountered was non-responsive.
Correct.
Did you call for medical assistance?
Yes.
And did they ultimately arrive there?
Yes.
Okay, and then you proceeded upstairs, and who did you come into contact with upstairs? Do you remember?
Yes, that was Miss Paula Belmonte.
And what was her condition like?
She was very excitable, yelling, screaming. You know, she had the large wound on her neck. I believe I found a towel nearby or something and applied pressure, had her hold on that while I went back to try to assist the first victim I had encountered.
Yeah, that's a grisly ass scene. Now, where is Baldhead? Franklin, sorry. Where is Baldhead and his accomplices at this very moment? Because remember, this is a robbery. They had a whole getaway car, and I don't know if it was 500 feet or 500 yards, but that shit was... Anyways, the place they were going to was close as shit. Like, you could just run over there and you'll arrive. Their whole plan doesn't make sense to me. How are you going to rob your neighbor and then run away and go back home? That sounds insane to me. Like, that sounds like nobody was using their brain. Like, how are you even going to do that? Nobody in that whole group said, we're kind of close to these people, like residentially, you know what I mean? Maybe they went 500 yards to regroup or something, but when I was reading up on it, and I did do my little research this time, so you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but it said the house or the location to where they met was about 500 yards away. I think it was 500 yards, might be 500 feet. That's crazy. Like, that's stupid. Like, you're trying to go to jail, bro. I'm like, the way that this guy's handling himself, I don't know. It makes me feel like he really might have something going right now. And keep in mind, I haven't seen anything on this trial. If you guys know the ending, well, the trial hasn't ended yet. But if you guys are way ahead, do not spoil it for the people who are just following along on AG Tactical. Of course, go over to Law and Crime and watch the trial if you guys want to. Go over to all the other channels. I'm sure Courthouse TV is running it also. But yeah, we're gonna take our time over here.
It's a composite. 1A through C. We just need the clerk to mark it, please. What, Mr. Alvarez? So we can bring it up to the clerk so we can get it marked as states 1A, C composite.
Why is it that like every judge seems to be completely out of it? Do you guys notice that? With the exception of Jennifer Darrow, because I feel like she had an unusual task and she was very lively throughout the whole trial. Most, I'll even say, male judges, look at how he's sitting. They're always first of all slouched to one side, and then their face is just like, fuck, I don't want to be here. Like, what is it about, like, have you just seen so much shit in the world that you don't like your job anymore? Are you tired of sitting in the chair? But it's always the lean over to the side, hand on the hand on the chin, or hand really close to chin, and just out of it. Just like, fuck, when can I go home to Margaret to make my beef stew? So I don't know what it is, but y'all peep the judge. Every time I look at a judge, Judge Newman, this judge, the judge for Bradley Yon, just fuck. Just don't want to be here. Like, I don't know. That's just my observation.
Deputy Mullen, while the jury is looking at the photos, could you kind of describe what they're looking at? Is that the steps leading into the treehouse?
Yes, so if I remember correctly, it was essentially like one flight of stairs and then almost like a landing platform and then another flight. And then I don't recall if there was a turn in the very end up to the top, but there may have been.
And just so I'm clear, you indicated that you encountered the first victim, which was non-responsive on the first landing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. One moment, Your Honor.
So that was short and sweet. What did you see? What happened? How did it look? What does the treehouse look like? You know, pretty standard questions for her. I thought they were going to go a bit further. But remember, Franklin, Mr. Tucker, he's trying to claim that they don't have evidence to prove that he was even a part of this. So far, you know, this is the first witness. So give him time. Let him breathe, right? But so far, there's no, you know what I mean? There's no, she came there, guy unresponsive, lady would slash on her throat. And that's it. She's just doing, like, cleanup at this point. So let's see what our defendant, let's see what Franklin Tucker goes ahead as his first witness to be cross-examination as a person who represents himself. Let's see what goes on.
State's completed direct examination. Mr. Tucker, did you care to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can proceed.
Deputy Mueller, thank you for coming. It's been a while. But, okay, that night, do you remember approximately what time? You know, what time you arrived on scene, what time you got to the treehouse?
Yo, what is going on? My boy goes straight into the questions. Now, this is something, I don't know, it's refreshing for me because you guys don't have to clip through the Darrell Brooks footage where he objects to every single thing and every question doesn't make sense. But it's kind of refreshing to see a guy who's like, all right, so what time did you get there? Let's see how he does, people. Rated on 1 to 10. Everybody put in the comments after this on 1 to 10. How good do you think he's doing day one representing himself cross-examining?
I don't recall the exact time, no.
Just, how about approximately? You got anything in there?
Want to say maybe it was like, I'd be guessing. I think it's like, 8 p.m., something like that. But
Okay, we can always look at it.
yeah.
You both need to keep your voices up, please.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Your Honor. Okay, so you get to the treehouse, and Paul's the second victim that you come across, correct? It's if you come across Matt first.
Correct.
Okay. And how long before backup shows up? Approximately.
Approximately like 20 minutes or maybe 30 minutes.
Damn, 30 minutes, bro? Where is backup?
Another deputy showed up to assist me with clearing the property.
Okay. Did Did you guys actually clear the property, check, make sure there's no more suspects, anything like that?
I had done that prior to the deputy arriving on scene.
Okay, would that be on your body cam?
Yes, sir.
Okay, check that out. Okay, so now you're at the property, you've done your sweep, you've got backup, correct? And I would assume the ambulance shows up before or after that?
Yes, sir. The ambulance showed up minutes after I got there.
Minutes after you got there. I seem to remember that too. Okay. Now, let's see, after that, what did you do after that? After you went ahead and cleared the property, after the ambulance came, they took Paul to the hospital, if I remember correctly, right?
Correct.
So what was your duty after that?
I remained on scene. I started a crime scene log.
Okay, she remained on scene. I just want to point out he has 0 notes. That's kind of scary to see. He has no notes in front of him. So that's a problem, in my opinion.
I believe I taped off the immediate structure of the treehouse itself, and then also the entrance to the property.
Okay.
Asked anybody who was in the property to come outside of the property. I tried to identify everybody that was on scene or that I came into contact with. That was essentially.
Right. You secured the scene, basically,
Yeah.
right? Now, and what does securing the scene, what does that actually entail? What is it, why do we do that?
To not contaminate the scene, to not have people in and out, stuff like that.
Okay. Just to make sure that the evidence stays there, it stays, doesn't get
Scene
walked away
safety.
with or tainted, right?
Correct.
You
Scene
know.
safety, make sure everything's.
Right, and safety, obviously, right? Okay, and now, was there evidence just found on property?
No, I believe, no. There was evidence found on the street itself.
Okay, was that ever blocked off? Was it ever roped off so that the evidence would stay secure?
Yes, once other units detectives got to the scene, at one point they did block off most of the street, from what I recall.
Okay, and about how long did that take
For them to arrive, or
for them to block off the street?
I don't recall.
Okay, do you remember anybody walking away with evidence?
Walking away with the
Like
evidence?
picking up evidence off the street and walking away with it?
The only person I saw that handled evidence would be the crime scene tech from Key West.
Okay, that would be
Detective Mitchell.
Yeah, if I remember right. Okay.
Yes.
And so he was the one who handled the evidence once he got there, right?
In my presence, yes.
Okay. And, and then after that, what did you do after that? I know you started the crime scene log, you secured the scene, at least the immediate scene, right? The
Correct.
treehouse itself.
Correct.
And then what did you do after
All right, so I don't know where he's going, but he's already opening up a room for, okay, the police took long, right? The police took a little long to get there. It took about 30 minutes. Damn, that's actually kind of long. Okay, that means no evidence was really being roped off on the street. She was roping things off around the treehouse. They probably found more. They rope it off later. So time is being passed. And he's like, so nobody went through, you didn't see anybody pick it up. I think he's hinting at, he's going toward the mishandling of evidence, but I don't know if that's really going to be enough if prosecution has something that's really a slam dunk to send them to jail. But I'm not sure about that yet. I'm not sure if prosecution has that.
I believe I assisted the detectives on scene with what they needed. We walked the street, Laurel Avenue, looking for any additional evidence. I did locate a $100 bill on the street. That's what Detective Mitchell came and photographed and collected. And I believe there was other individual pieces that were located.
Whew. I was running the computer on no charge. What is going on? That whole thing would have ended just now. We would have had to make a whole new video. Or better yet, I just wouldn't have posted today because the whole video got destroyed. All right, we're back.
I didn't locate them directly.
But they're basically all the way down the street, right?
From what I recall, it was, yes, going down the street.
Sure. Okay, so you're looking for evidence after that. That's, you're basically searching for evidence, checking the scene, making sure guys are covering the whole street now looking for the evidence, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, we get to the scene, okay, and, was I there? Correct. Just we'll go for that right there. Was I present when you got there?
I did not see you, no.
Yeah, okay. And, is there any evidence that I was there?
I was expecting an objection to that, but hey, so far my boy doing this little thing, boy. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, bro. He's doing his little thing right now. I don't know if prosecution is just gonna come and sledgehammer his whole arguments. Again, this is the first witness, but shit, I mean, he doing a little something. He remembered listen, he's clear. That's another thing. So he's not crazy either. He's clear in the mind because he said Detective, I think, Franklin. He remembered the detective's name. He remembered the names of the people in the house. He remembered he's remembering everything right now. And one might say that, yeah, it's easy to just go and memorize some files, right? Sure. But one, this is a really big case because it's 2 victims, right? And 2, like, the nerves are gonna, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get my thoughts together. The nerves of being up there and representing yourself, you would expect one to be forgetting certain things like that, especially with no notes. He's up there with no notes, smooth, cool as a cucumber, literally. Bald head shining, glasses on, earring dangling. Your boy is out here killing it so far, in my opinion. Let's continue.
I did not see you there.
Know.
So
You know of, right? Okay. All right, so nothing there. Now, okay, and you said other people started showing up, other detectives, other officers started showing up. Was it Detective Mitchell from Key West PD? He shows up for the forensics, correct?
he did show up, yes.
Okay. And then who else showed up?
Let's see. At the time, Captain Phelps, Detective Pitcher, Detective Malone, Lieutenant Kellenberger, Detective Fernandez, possibly Captain Smith.
It's quite a few officers, right?
Yes, sir.
Most of them major ranking officers, if I remember correctly, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you said your first encounter was with Todd O'Quinn, correct? With the skinny white guy who ran out.
I believe his name was Todd O'Quinn.
Todd
yes.
O'Quinn,
Yeah.
Todd Sumner O'Quinn is his name, but his full name. So he's the one who approached you first, but he's not the one who called 911, but he's the one who approached you, correct?
Correct. I believe he was yelling in front of CVS, and some other bystanders contacted 911.
Okay. And what was he saying to you? Do you remember?
For the exact verbatim, I would have to refer to my body
Sure.
cam.
It's been a long time. I
has
understand.
been.
Believe me, I understand.
But he told me that there was some sort of altercation. I believe he said he saw Mr. Bonnet being stabbed, and he saw a white suspect and a black suspect.
A white suspect?
the
I mean, shit. He saw a white suspect and a black suspect. That's not very helpful. There's a lot of white and black people around, I would say. Hey, man, if this is one of them trials where this guy OJs himself and gets off with himself, that shit would be crazy. But I need to hear more prosecution to know if to determine for myself if I think he's guilty or not. Because right now, I read up on the article. There's like a little article. They're claiming he did these things, but then prosecution's not really coming out with anything so far. First witness, I get it. AG, shut up, play the video. AG, you talk too much, whatever. I get it. I'm just trying to explain to y'all how I'm feeling right now, okay? To y'all who are new here, that's how we do things.
Circumstances, for the white suspect, do you remember any of what he said about him?
Again, I would have to refer to the body cam because that would give an exact recording.
Right, yeah, that definitely helps.
Yeah.
And we may do that. We'll see. Now, prior to all this happening, before you even got to the treehouse, before you even got the call? What were you doing before that?
I believe I was patrolling the trap yard in an area called La Curva prior to.
An area called what? I'm sorry.
It's called La Curva. It's a trap yard.
Oh,
on
La Curva?
Fifth
Yeah, I
Avenue.
know La Curva.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe I was patrolling there prior to getting the call.
Okay. Okay. And how long would you say you were doing that?
Again, it would be a guess, but approximately 15, 20 minutes.
Were you ever in the CVS parking lot that night?
I could have been prior to that.
Do you know approximately how long?
No.
What if I told you maybe hours? Maybe an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours? Just prior to the crime?
Well, that could be, yeah.
Just checking. Okay. And did you go into CVS that night at all?
Well, I don't have a direct recollection, but if I was there, I probably went in and maybe got snacks or.
Yeah.
You know,
See, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Okay.
Damn,
All right,
she
so-
can't remember shit. Does she have kids or something? Like, what the fuck? I mean, I guess you just see a million things every day, and maybe that it just wasn't that day just wasn't her day. Maybe she was feeling down. Maybe her mind was somewhere else, and she just don't remember that much. But I would expect, like, nah. But I mean, people get stabbed every day, so maybe it was just another day for her. Like, oh, somebody getting stabbed. All right, pull it over. Okay, she's fucked up. He's not moving. Moving on. Like, honestly, she seems like a G. Like, she seems like she'll fuck some shit up. Not gonna lie. Those bags under her eyes tell me the whole story.
We know where you were before. We know where you went afterwards. And, okay, so you're searching and everybody else shows up and they start searching, right? What about, the other investigators? What are they doing? Because, were they all searching on Laurel or did they, go other places? I mean, did they do anything else that you know of?
I know some units responded to a property on 2nd, but I wasn't there. I don't know who responded.
Was it the warehouse property?
Yes.
Okay, so it was the warehouse property. Now, when I say the warehouse property, you and I know what that means. I'm not sure the jury knows what that means. It's on 2nd Street. Could you please just describe it for them just so that they have an understanding of it?
See, that's crazy. No, okay, so his IQ is definitely higher than your average, or like I'll say he's not a dummy. He's okay. All I needed was one little cross examination to know if this guy was a fucking moron playing smart or if he actually is smarter than we think. He's actually pretty smart. He even understands that he can't testify, right? Because almost in my head I was like, oh shit, now he's got to explain what the warehouse property is, right? But no, you can't do that. He's not testifying. She's testifying. And he was like, okay, can you just explain that for the jury so that they have an understanding? He related back onto her. Just subtle things I'm seeing that for people like Bradley on, doofus, he wouldn't have done that. He would have explained it and got objected to. Darrell Brooks, doofus, he wouldn't have done that. He would have obviously, he would have tried to explain it and Darrell would have said to disregard that to the jury. He's moving. He's moving and grooving. That's all I could say. He's moving and grooving through this trial. I don't know if he's going to get found innocent, but let's see what prosecution has, man. The ball's in their court because he might shut this shit down.
Yes, it's on 2nd Street in Stock Island. It's essentially a big warehouse. It's like an aluminum or metal sided building, pretty large, and I believe there's it's sectioned off, or at least it is now, into separate areas.
Now, was the interest at 2nd Street or the 2nd Street warehouse? Do you know?
I believe at the time, the information that I was able to put out and receive from the victim was that there was a suspect that possibly resided there.
So I wasn't wrong. Literally down the street. So you mean to tell me you're going to go and rob somebody and you live down the fucking... Bro, that doesn't make any sense. Now that makes... So the way this guy is talking, it makes me scratch my head to think that a man like him would try such a plan as this. which further makes me think that maybe he might be innocent. I don't know. There's no way they could be holding him in jail and prosecution really going after him if they think he's innocent, but we'll find out.
Ended up being true, did it?
I actually don't know if they found him. I don't know the results.
Did you show up for when was it they brought Rory Wilson in? Were you there for that?
No,
I
sir.
know that people were masked, so it was hard to decide. I don't know whether you were there or not, you know, so I'm just asking.
Yes, I was not.
Okay, just checking. Okay, so you got, you know, there are units at the 2nd Street warehouse, but you're not one of them. You're still back at the.
I stayed at the scene the whole time.
Okay, you're at the scene. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Okay, is there any other involvement you had in the investigation beyond, you know, that initial night?
The very next night, I was on patrol again, and I got called again by dispatch to a residence at the end of the road because they had found a knife in their yard.
Okay, and where was it? Do you remember, you know, where, what, was it in the mobile home park, or was it, you know?
Yes, at the time there was a mobile home park there called Ocean's Edge,
Okay,
Water's Edge.
Water's Edge.
One of the-
Yeah,
Water's Edge.
you're absolutely correct. I'm sorry.
And it was one of the trailers that was on, I guess, is that 2nd Street, right at the end of Laurel Avenue there.
Yeah, I seem to remember which one. Now, did you stay there and collect the knife, or did somebody else come and do that?
No, I responded. I saw the knife, and I contacted Detective Pitcher at the time, I believe, was the lead detective, and then Key West Detective Mitchell came and collected the knife.
Now, at the crime scene, who would you say was actually in charge of the crime scene? Who was actually running the show?
I know that Key West PD Detective Mitchell was doing the collection, but
For the
beyond that,
forensics part, yeah.
yeah, beyond that, I don't know who
I
was
mean,
running.
normally it would have been Sergeant Kellenberger's job, correct? I mean, I know a little bit about MCSO protocol. I don't know.
He would be
And
the
I don't know nearly as much as you, obviously. so.
He would be the supervisor of the.
He would have been the supervisor, right? Okay, and you know, but there were people there above him, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and did people from the state attorney's office show up at the crime scene?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how about, did they ever have a suspect at the crime scene?
Not that I recall.
Okay. Do you remember Anethea Clay?
I believe she showed up on a bicycle at one point.
Okay, was she a suspect in the crime?
Not that I'm aware of. I know she was mentioned by Miss Belmonte that she knew the suspect.
Okay,
And
but that's I'm not trying to tell you what to say or, you know, anything like that. I'm just trying to see if we can both remember here, because if I remember correctly, didn't Paula come out of the treehouse when she's holding her neck and screaming? Isn't that the first name that comes out of her?
Yeah, I was waiting for the objection. He's testifying. He's trying to nudge his way in there. But hey, professional lawyers do this all the time. And they're like, objection, scratch that from the record. You will disregard that jury. But hey, like I always say, the jury still heard it. That's why there's certain imperfections about court, because hey, the jury still heard it. They're going to take that information in. The more you tell someone to disregard the information, the more they're going to subconsciously think about it, you know? So, see what happens.
Sustain it. That's
Okay.
Facts not an evidence.
Okay. Anyway, you do remember the Anethea, you know, that she was mentioned by Paula.
yes,
Okay. And she was eventually brought to the crime scene, correct?
I remember her showing up on a bicycle.
Okay. And did anybody get a statement?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. I'm not saying you do. I'm just, you know, because I don't know which officers did everything, you know, so I'm just trying to get my knowledge here. So you don't know whether anybody took a statement from her?
Objection asked and answered.
I'll overrule the objection.
All right, that was just rhetorical. I'm sorry. But she wasn't arrested, correct? Or that you know of?
Not that I know of on the scene, no.
And did you have any other parts in this investigation beyond those initial days?
Yes. A few days later,
Okay, a few days later, and
I was on shift again, and I got called to assist with arresting you.
oh, thanks. Whatever. I'm not going to hold it against you.
I appreciate it.
Yo, I don't know, man, bro. He doesn't even seem like the type of person who's gonna go and rob somebody. He seems like the type of person who would try to scam you. You know what I mean? Try to use his brain to outthink you or something. But I could be wrong.
Oh, and then, well, beyond that, was there anything else you did for this investigation?
Yes, it was much later in the investigation. I was actually a detective at the time, and I was a plainclothes detective. My partner and I at the time were asked to locate Miss Anthea Clay. And then separately, my partner and I at one time, went to Miami to pair up with, our whole unit did,
Right.
to pair up with Miami-Dade detectives in an attempt to locate another person to serve a subpoena. My involvement with that, though, was literally show up, and then we were dismissed, so we went home.
So just go there, go home.
Yeah, I didn't have
I'm
much.
sorry about that.
involvement with
I'm sure it wasn't fun. Okay, but the Anthea Clay thing, back to that one. So what was the intention of when you went to go, engage Anthea on this time?
At the time, Captain Phelps was the boss of the unit I was in, like higher ranking.
Right, yeah.
And she asked my partner and I for assistance with locating Miss Anthea Clay. And she knew, or she had an idea of where she lived or would be seen. So we were playing clothes, so we set up and we watched. And when we located her, the captain made contact with her, and I believe she brought her in for interview.
Right. And did she act surprised or anything like that to see you guys? Or?
I don't recall.
And you remember being brought in for the interview. Were you there for any of it? Or?
I did not. I waited outside.
Okay. So that's the extent of your involvement, though, that I know of, correct?
As best as I can recall right now, yes.
And that you know of. Okay, great. No further questions, John. Thank you, Miss Detective. Sorry, Detective. I want to call you Detective because I remember you being a detective before,
Yes,
too.
sir.
Deputy Mueller. Thank you.
He remembered the detective's name. He remembered everybody's name. Respectful. A little too much jokiness, but I feel like that just comes with not being a professional lawyer. But guys, you let me know what you think. That was pretty good. I enjoyed myself. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's either really good and narcissistic and able to, come off like this, or he's actually innocent. But I don't know. We'll continue this trial. We're going to take it to the end. If you guys want to take it to the end, let me know. Hit me up in the comments how you guys are thinking about this one. And yeah, I'm going to see you in the next one. I love you guys. Until then, stay inside, stay safe. I'm going to see you in the next one.